So Switzerland this year is heading to Rotterdam with Jean's Tears and Tout l'univers. But we did we but did we think this one is out of this world? So before we go looking at Switzerland's entry this year, let's kind of go over a bit of the history of Switzerland at Eurovision. It hosted the first ever contest way back in 1956 and won it. They also won in 1988 with Celine Dion and Ne partez pas sans moi. Ne partez pas sans moi, laissez-moi vous suivre. Excellent French pronunciation. And they were kind of a relatively successful Eurovision country in the 20th century, but this kind of changed with the introduction of semi-finals in 2004. And they kind of failed to get to the final in 11 out of 16 contests. But they did make it back to the top 5 for the first time in over 20 years in 2019 with the bop that is She Got Me. She got me 30 and 6. But they're back this year with Jean's Tears, and he was going to be their representative last year as well. But this year they're sending Tout l'univers, so let's have a little listen. That was Switzerland's entry for this year. So what do we think of this one? Jack, I'll go to you.
So Switzerland is one of the favourites to win this year. It's in like a top group of 3 in the bookmakers. Ironically, all songs with French titles. You've got Voilà from France, Tout l'univers from Switzerland, and Je me casse from Malta. But this is not warranted, in my opinion, in that top bubble. It's a fan favourite, and unpopular opinion alert, I genuinely do not understand why. It is rather average, I think. It's nothing particularly special. Admittedly, I will probably nuance this by saying I didn't think Arcade was anything particularly special. Before it won, it's only grown on me afterwards, but while it was the massive favourite to win a few years ago, I didn't really get it. And maybe I'm missing something with this as well, but I feel the same sort of apathy, if not more apathetic towards this, because it's nothing special. I feel like what this is trying to do has been done before and has been done before significantly better. I mean, the only thing is it's in French. Like, it's just a French version of a song that we've heard before. And probably you'll get people in the comments saying, oh no, this is different. And I can't off the top of my head think of anything that's immediately exactly the same as this, but it feels like a recycled of all the, like a concoction of everything ballady that does well at Eurovision, just mixed into one. It's like ticking all the boxes, and I don't see anything in it really. It's bizarre. And before as well, some people say, oh no, because you don't understand it. I lived in France as a kid. I did a French degree, fluent in French. I know what the words mean, and I don't get it. It's very la-di-da poetry sort of thing, and I don't really have much time for that. And it is very average. And if it wins, and we'll get on to this in a second, if it wins, it will probably be the worst winner, or certainly my least favourite winner by some distance since Ella Nicky in 2011, because there's nothing particularly strong about this.
Average for Jack. James, what are your thoughts?
Do you know what, actually? I think this is absolutely awful. I'm not a big fan, I've got to be honest with you. I think, it feels like you're going, music video wise, it's like you're going from a car crash to Doctor Who episode. It's so strange. I mean, it's a fairly okay tune and rhythm and flow in it. I can live with it. Not too bad. But, I'm looking at my notes now, and And my one sentence is, didn't feel very Eurovision. And I think for me, that was the problem with it, because I think it was just very heavy. And I think we think back to Portugal, you know, when they won the competition. Yes, that was a little bit heavy, but it was a beautiful song. It had a lovely meaning behind it. Whereas this one, you know, I'm seeing the visuals of a car crash and it's not filling me with, oh, you know, Eurovision, highlight of my year. It's filling me with, oh God, you know, after the year we've had, the last thing I want to be watching, it's a song about a car crash, you know, and that to me just lets the song down, which is a shame, because I feel like it could have the potential to be a fabulous song, really, really nice, really good. And, you know, like Portugal could do quite well. But for me personally, I'm not vested in it. And I think that's a shame.
So, not too much praise there either. For me, I'm kind of, Jack, I'm on kind of a similar page as you. It's perfectly kind of pleasant to listen to, but I do think it's kind of been overhyped. And I do think the comparison with Arcade is quite a kind of fair one, because I was the same. I didn't understand the hype around Arcade. For me, I think there is kind of staging potential with this, because I do think there is quite a kind of contrast between the verses and the chorus, where it kind of, yeah, there's just kind of a difference and marked change. So I do think there's kind of like an opportunity for staging there, where you kind of get more of a kind of like uplifting staging when the chorus kind of hits. But yeah, I kind of like it. I enjoy it. I would go that far, but I'm not entirely sure about the hype. But I do appreciate that it is sung in French, because I do think when you get so many kind of English songs at Eurovision, those that are kind of in a native language can either kind of do so well, or they can kind of completely bomb. And I think this is definitely on the kind of better kind of side of that coin. But for me, I'm just, yeah, I'm kind of on a similar page to you, Jack. But so Switzerland is performing 16th in the second semi-final. There's only one country, Denmark, to come after it. So I suppose the next question is kind of, where do we think it's going to qualify? I mean, seeing as it's one of the bookies' favourites, I assume that answer is probably quite straightforward. But where would we kind of put it in our personal rankings, Jack?
Yeah, I think qualification is clearly not an issue with this. It's a likely winner of the semi-final, because it feels like it's been given the prime placing to do well, and I think it will do very, very well with the juries, quite clearly. So yeah, I think it's the most likely winner of the semi-final, and it probably in my personal ranking, I probably would put it through as well, because there are 7 songs that are worse than it, I think. But I still don't think it's particularly special. My personal ranking is 21, so it's almost smack bang in the middle of my 1 to 39 ranking. But I think the more I think about whether it'll win or not, and when I see the bookies' odds and it still is near the top, the more and more convinced I become that this isn't going to win Eurovision. It will do very well, but I think it will do well with the juries. It'll be certainly top 3 with the juries in the final, I think. But I don't see this having mass appeal in the televote for some reason. I really don't think, a family in Albania or the middle of Ireland, or somebody by themselves in Estonia is going to pick up the phone and vote for this and spend their money on this. I really don't. I think it's got the Eurovision fandom hype that is not going to translate to the Eurovision stage. So I don't think this is the winner of Eurovision 2021. And I'm also doubly sure of that, because if you look back, certainly in the recent history of Eurovision, the 21st century, I don't think in the 21st century we've had back-to-back winning songs that have been very similar. If you look back through all of them, there is every year a gear shift. It's a very different style of song. It's in a different language. It's a very dance heavy versus a ballad. Every year, other than maybe 2001, 2002, which were fairly similar, I guess, the 21st century has been consistently, the winning song the next year is nothing like the previous year's winner. And yes, we have had the gap of a year. There wasn't one last year, but Arcade is the reigning champion, and it's almost had a second life through TikTok, and it's made the Billboard sort of charts. It's made the UK top 40. It's done very, very well in recent months. So it's got this weird lasting staying power that I think people will remember Arcade as the previous winner. And this is very similar. It's in the same ballpark as Arcade. So the fact that I don't think it'll have televote appeal, plus the fact that it's pretty similar to Arcade, it's in the same arena, and similar songs never win back to back. I really don't think this is the winner. Top 5 possible. Is this the winner of Eurovision 21? No, and it doesn't deserve to win either.
Interesting. James, where have you put this?
Yes, the scores on the door as well. It's probably not really a surprise at all. I didn't rank this very well at all. Pretty bottom of the barrel, in fact, at 34. So, you know, I really, really wasn't a big fan of it. I don't know. It's just, like I said, it's just so heavy. I think it will struggle in terms of getting the audience to back it. I think it's going to bring down the mood and the feel of the show. And placing is going to be key, because I think depending on where they're put will largely depend on how the public will get behind it or not get behind it, as it usually is the case. So I think it's an interesting one, but for me, just didn't cut the cracker, I'm afraid.
Oh, very, very low down there from James. I think that's quite unjust as far as I'm concerned. For me, I put it as number 19, so fairly kind of similar to Jack. I'm the same. I do think it kind of deserves to qualify. I do think it's, for me personally, it's in my kind of just over the kind of halfway kind of bar in terms of my song rankings. Yeah, no problem kind of getting through to the final, because it's kind of got quite a bit of momentum purely from kind of the fandom, and the fandom of the ones who are kind of most likely to watch the semi-finals rather than the kind of general public. So yeah, I don't think there'll be any issues on kind of that front. But that's what we think. I think there may be some controversy in the comments. So if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, please let us know, and please don't be abusive. But that gives Switzerland a total of 75. So James really kind of bringing us down there.
I get down like a toes in a swimming pool. Thank you. James, well done.
Lovely. A lovely simile. But yeah, those are our thoughts. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell notification. But that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching.